Would you tell everyone your name, the name of the book, and where you're talking to us from?
I'm David Schultz. The name of the book is Tops, and I'm talking to you from Aurora, Illinois, which is just west of Chicago.
Great. There's a freeway that goes through there, right?
Absolutely, yeah. 88.
88. Yeah. I went to school in DeKalb. So I think I
Right down the road.
Yeah, so that's where I knew the connection. Okay, let's hit three really quick questions for you. At what age did you start writing?
Okay, that's an unusual question for me because I began my life as a writer, writing songs. I was a musician for many, many years, and I started trying to write songs in my teens, didn't really get serious until my 20s, and I kept that up for many, many years. About 10 years ago, I got into writing literature instead of songs. So I don't know how you want to frame that, but that's the history.
I'll take it. I like it. I like it. Name me three authors or songwriters that influenced you.
There's so many, just an unbelievable pile of writers that I just love. My three big ones: Walter Mosley, Elmore Leonard, and Jack London, of course.
Wow. Yeah. Big names.
Yeah, those guys just kill me. They slay me.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Give me one grammar issue that you really have trouble with.
Commas.
He said after a long pause. In your book, Tops, what is your favorite line, either in the dialogue or in the narrative?
In this particular scene, John, the protagonist, has just been arrested and he's being dragged from a diner. It's night. Tops, his wolf dog, is lurking, stalking in the dark, and the deputy is shoving him, pushing him, and Tops is this kid's best friend. So here's the line that I really like in this scenario. That was all the opening Tops needed. He ripped from the night. The dog in Tops was protective. The wolf in him would go for the throat.
That's pretty darn good. I give you A+ on that. I remember that scene too. I really liked it.
Thank you.
Let me ask you this. You know that Dirk and Dana Kussler put up the prize money for the winner, and you automatically get 500, and if you win, you get 1,000 instead. What are you going to do with your money? Because you're guaranteed.
I'm going straight to the slot machines. No, I'm joking. That would be pretty cool. No, I'm going to probably have to put some of that towards the trip.
Yeah, good, good. All right, last one. Where would you place the trophy?
Well, I don't know if you can see it by the mantle right there. I'm pretty sure we're going to stick it there for a while, and we'll see what Christmas brings.
There you go. There you go. Excellent. Well, now let's get into the real interview, even though that was extremely entertaining. I have to tell you that I mentioned I read a lot of books. I fell in love with your book. I fell in love with Tops. I fell in love with all the characters. You seem to know a lot about wolves. How did you learn all that?
I think like every writer, you go into a story, you get an idea, and then the research starts piling up. I mean, you want to be authentic, and if you're interested in your character or your subject, you're gonna dig. Honestly, I went in, I have dogs, I love dogs, but I didn't know that much about wolves until I got into the story.
Do you like research? You like doing research?
When I am in the writing mode, it's like, oh, how should I handle this? Or, ooh, how should I handle that? So.
The main human characters are a teenager who's raised in the wilds of Alaska named John Wells, Police Chief Hensick, and the lawyer Lambert. But to me, there were two other omnipresent characters besides the wolf, And that was the wilderness and the small town. It was the civilized town. I'm using quote marks.
Mm-hmm.
They seem very real. Again, how did you create these places, or are they real?
Benson is a fabricated town, but I did spend an awful lot of time in small rural communities here in Illinois. Nothing like the Alaskan wilderness. And I did have that. My parents had a business in Chicago, and in the summers, I would be shipped down to Southern Illinois to get out of the way, I suppose. And so I did have that big city, small, rural community thing happening, and I saw the differences. So I think maybe in some way that played a part in creating the story, creating those two characters.
Yeah, they were. I thought I actually looked at a map and tried to find Benson. So that's how good it was.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tops is also interesting in a lot of ways, but it's a man raised by wolves, like the boy raised by wolves type of thing. Not literally, but pretty much. It's also the wild versus civilization story. And my question is, what drove you to write this? Was it just your experiences in Southern Illinois? Quite a wild place.
Trust me, Southern Illinois is much more wild than Alaska. No, I like the idea of John has this, he has like a wealth of knowledge, but it has nothing to do with civilization. You know, he's a smart guy. He can survive. He can do all these things. And yet the townspeople didn't think he had anything. I like that juxtaposition. I like that showing how smart John is when you get him in his zone, and how outgunned Hensick and Lambert are when they hit the wild, you know?
Yeah. In fact, speaking of that, once you get to know John, you're like, I can't wait to get in the wilderness with him. I mean, you're like, I hope that's where this goes. And without giving a lot away, it does, from a series of believable yet astounding events. And there's some kind of absolution there for the police chief. Did the characters, as you wrote the book, did they suggest that to you as the author because you got to know them so well, or did you know from the beginning this is where they're gonna end up?
There's my wolf right now.
There's Tops. Look out! No. Yeah.
What I did know is I knew that John was kind and he was caring, but again, in that wilderness, they're really hard, making the hard decisions kind of way. Right. So I knew he wouldn't be cruel or mean to either one of these guys.
Right.
And so when it came time, you know, when the end came, he would do the kind thing.
Right. Right.
As with Tops. I mean, Tops was almost a human character in some respects.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, one of the things I want to ask you about Tops, which I just loved, is that a lot of authors, when they have an animal that's not human speak, it can be really, pardon my expression, stupid. Tops never was. He spoke, I'm using quote marks again, but you knew what was going on with him through the narrative. He did certain things, but you know, you really got into the head of the wolf, you know, and was that something you had to work at, or are you just a genius?
No, I'm not a genius. Let's clarify that right now. Thank you very much for that. Just to make a story real, I think you have to try to be an actor. You know, you have to try to get into the head of your character, even if the character is a wolf. You have to understand the relationships, understanding, you know, the limitations, the flaws, the virtues, blah, 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 of your character. And that's all I tried to do. Yeah. You know, and if it was successful, I'm very glad, very happy.
Yeah, it was very, very successful. Well, again, the book is Tops. We're talking with Dave Schultz. Dave, it's been a pleasure. I thoroughly enjoyed your book. And I hope you write at least as many books as you've written songs.
That would be good.
It'd be a while, though, I bet.
I've written a lot of songs.
All right, good.
Many, many, many songs. Thank you for talking to me. I really had fun.
Oh, absolutely.